Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 5, Episode 14, where we watch The Real World, Season 32, Episode 4. I'm Chris Lorenz.
This is Brian.
Noah Singer.
Robert Kitts.
Hey, this is James.
Harrison Hoffman. This is ABC.
Hip Hop, this is British Max.
Well, we've got a full boat this week, guys, if you've been listening recently. But if this is your first time, we review and critique a new reality show each week by watching one episode. So this week we've watched classic Real World set in Seattle because it's Seattle month. This is the end. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the good season of Real World in Seattle, so we did the bad one. I don't know.
Spoilers.
Maybe some people know. I don't know, because this was hot garbage, so we'll get into that.
Oh, gee.
Wow. Calling it early.
Whoa, easy. We haven't even done the description yet, Chris.
All right, Harrison.
Spoilers.
Why don't you give us the show description, Harrison?
Rob, I believe, is the one that has the show description.
Oh, I thought you really wanted to give your show description.
If you want me to read my episode description, I can.
I'll do the show description, then you'll do the episode description.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds good.
7 strangers move into a loft in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. But halfway through the season, their rivals, including exes, frenemies, and estranged family members, join them. That's The Real World Seattle, Bad Blood on MTV.
Now you, Harrison.
Okay, mine's basically half of that description, because this seems like this is kind of the point where the twist happens. The original 7 roommates are shocked when their exes, rivals, former friends, and estranged family members move into the Seattle house. There you go.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. So there isn't a whole lot of plot that happens this episode as a general rule. There's just 7 people in this house. They do stuff. There's drama. Then 7 other people come into the house that hate each other for whatever reason. Then there's even more drama. And then the show just kind of pitters out until the next episode where there's more drama. That's kind of it. It's just all drama.
But that is Real World. Like, I'm confused. You say there's no plot. Like, there isn't a plot to Real World. It's just people being real.
Living in
Yeah.
their name.
It's more for our format where we go over what happened in an episode and nothing happened. So that's really what I'm getting at. Like,
Gotcha.
It wasn't like,
Stopped being polite and started getting real, Chris. That is what this show is about.
stop being polite and getting real. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's the tagline for The Real World. It's when people stop being polite and start getting real. Real World, Chris.
No, wait.
I get it.
And anyone, how many episodes of seasons of Real World has anyone watched? More than 0.
This is the first one for me.
Okay.
Does the
When
Real
did-
World Road Rules Challenge counts? Or is that
No.
a different show?
That's a different show.
I've seen that one. When does the show turn into the challenge?
I mean, that has already happened. I'm not exactly sure what season of The Real World starts feeding into the challenge, but they were kind of going parallel. You know, like Challenge is like a spin-off show of Real World.
Got it.
And
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen episodes of The Real World before. I never said I got to watch this whole season, but it was on.
but
I
like,
remember watching the original Seattle season for like a few episodes. Because I mean, this is like when I was pretty young, obviously. I'm not sure what season the original Seattle one was, but they were working at like Pike Place Market, and like they're like literally the dudes like who were throwing the fish, and like that's like the job that they got them like while they were in Seattle or whatever. So that's kind of,
yeah, I was just curious, like this season. So we watched episode 4. I watched episodes 1 through like 6, and I couldn't do it anymore. I was so done. But like episodes 1, 2, and 3 were just kind of like everyone knew something was gonna happen. So it was just like all this lead up to this moment where all these people moved into this house. But like, is this always the gimmick? Like, is there always a gimmick, or is it just always a gimmick past like season 15 when they needed a gimmick? Like, I just
Yeah.
didn't know if anyone knew.
I don't think it's always the gimmick like this one specifically, because like when I was looking at the seasons, it explicitly called it like, hey, this is Bad Blood, and it was a specific season of Real World, and there were like other versions of Real World as well. So I think it's just they pull gimmicks sometimes.
Noah, can we have a internet corner on what the other gimmicks of other seasons were?
Let's see what we can bring up. But it is definitely more towards what you're saying, Chris. Like, they got to a point where it's like, all right, we're going to stir the pot a little bit, do the cross stream of the MTV cinematic reality universe. But I'll see when that starts to get peppered in.
But like, if we look at this holistically, is this not just like Big Brother, but allowing them outside the house?
Well, there's
That's
no
pretty much it.
the difference.
There's also
that there's no game. They're just all living in this house and they're just filming what's happening. Like there's no like it's not like a challenge. It's not like a competition show.
So they're not like voting people off, as you.
No, they're just like chilling and they're just living in this house together and they're just filming this show about what happens in the house. Like there's no like voting off or anything. My understanding of the Real World.
But like also with the real, are they like? It seems like they're allowed to leave the house at will too and like go and do stuff.
Yeah,
Like, they're just kind of living in like a particular place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's kind of different gimmick from a
it's
lot of these
basically
shows.
like a documentary of these people living in a particular city, and they kind of have at least some limited amount of freedom to go out and do things. They probably have certain bars and places that they're like approved to go to because they can shoot there, whatever. Sometimes, clearly, like in this episode, like they organize like some group outings, like to the zoo, and they get them all in a van and do that. But it's just they're just kind of filming the show about them living.
Yeah, there's literally no challenges. There are no prizes. Like, there's none of the gimmicks that are in reality TV today. It's just get attractive people that are overly dramatic, that are overly horny, put them in a house, give them alcohol, let it ride.
So it's
Yeah.
Love Island?
Kind of. Without the explicit overtone. It's more of an implicit overtone of, like, banging.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just kind of boring. Like, as I said, episodes 1 through 3 like lead up to this moment where these guys move in, and it was very anticlimactic. Like, even this episode, I was already bored of like, the bad bloods are coming. I can't be with my ex. I can't be with my sister. Oh, blah 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 blah. Blah. Like, I don't know. It's just like this kind of drama is just like not for me.
Okay, so this actually reminds me of like another show. I think it was like what was the peak show that we watched? That was on MTV. Like
Peak season.
yeah. So
Peak of
they
Love.
introduced Peak of Love. Yeah, they introduced like that twist, that seemed similar twist immediately. Why did they wait like 3 episodes to like start setting this up?
I don't know. Like, there was a part where, so episodes 1 through 3 kind of get to know the 7 people in the house, but then they pepper in these other 7 people just like literally doing a road trip. They're like sleeping in this like RV on their way up to Seattle. It's so weird.
So
There's,
Chris,
like-
in the first few episodes of this show, do you see the people in the RV as much as you see the people in the house, or does it just focus on those house people?
More on the house, because the house people are out actually doing fun things. The people in the RV are just sitting around being catty and talking about how much they hate the people in the house. Like, that's literally all they're doing because there's nothing else to do.
Well, I was wondering how much they introed everybody's relationships, because like in the course of this episode, a few of the bad blood relationships become clear, but like not all of them. So I was
They didn't
wondering
really do a good
if that
job.
been, like sort of revealed.
From what I tell you is they didn't do a good job. I didn't really get a feel for a lot of their drama until they actually met. Like, they said like these are their base like people, because like, I hate my brother Theo or whatever for what X reason. But like, you don't get the full story until they actually sit and talk it out, or like sit and make up, or like sit and actually it affecting like their lives in a way, because you only get one side of the story, because the other people in the house, like, they're just having fun, they're doing stuff, like they don't know who's coming. It's a surprise.
But they have to know who's coming, I assume.
I mean,
Part
like
of
some
the show, and they ask you who your enemy is.
Did they tell the people in the house that there was going to be a twist, or what the name of the show was, or like were
No.
they like prompted in any way, or are they just like guessing that there's going to be a twist?
they were just like, there's gonna be a twist, I wonder what it is. Like they
Oh,
had
so-
no idea.
Okay, so
Well,
they didn't that their rivals or any of these kind of people were going to show up at all.
But
So
in the
so-
previously
Kind of
on,
expected it.
in the previously
Maybe-
on, it had that a guy said, I saw on Twitter my ex posted and her location said she was only 2 hours away. I think that means she's coming as part of the twist.
Oh shit.
yeah,
Okay.
that was like the kind of moment where I think everyone kind of knew what was going on, but before that, they didn't. They probably could have guessed, but like they weren't
And-
actively really talking about it.
It would have been so good if no one had any idea that was going to happen. I mean, that would have been an incredible reveal because we have to talk about the way that they did the reveal of the people and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. So the 7 people are in the house. They go to the zoo on like, I guess to distract them, while the producers come in and like tear down, like pull like pieces off the wall that they've already like, they had nailed in or whatever.
There was a hidden room.
Yeah. So they
Hidden rooms with
They
fake
revealed
coverings.
hidden room with already beds set up and ready to go.
This was brilliant.
This was the best
Brilliant.
part of the show.
So good.
These people
Well,
built
then-
this house. They had no idea there was this whole extra space here with extra beds. This is brilliant.
Yeah. And then the producers told them all to sit in their new rooms, this new 7 people, while the 7 people come back from the zoo and they go to their room and shock and find a mysterious room as a bed that wasn't there before with totally new people.
One thing
Who the
that's
hell are
awesome
you?
about this is that, like, I imagine you would come in this house and you'd be like, how long were you guys in here? Like, how long have you been living in this room?
I've
They,
been here the whole time.
yeah, we need a
They're
different
here the whole
version. We need a different version of the show where they actually are living in the room and then they just pull the wall off and they're just
Yeah.
there. They've been there all along.
While they're sleeping.
Oh no. They're like
Absolute
screwed
highlight
down
of
through
the
the
show.
walls.
So it's the twinning house. So they have the 2 houses that are the same on
Yes.
both sides, and then all of a sudden
Yes.
they reveal that it's the warehouse. They open it up into one room. This is what
It's
they
like
gotta
that really bad show we watched where like half of the house was like in the past and half was in the future.
I was
Oh,
just gonna say
God.
that there needs to be just
Like,
a
it was
giant
a
window.
surprise.
God, that show rules.
Yeah.
What if
I
there's
mean,
a
and it-
wall and it's opaque, but it's slowly becoming transparent?
Yes,
Oh.
I love
Every time you
this.
start-
show.
wait, is there some light coming through that wall, and then it becomes transparent? There's your bad blood people are on the other side.
Bad blood. That's very good. I do notice that there are like no windows in these bedrooms, and at like every other MTV show, everybody has to sleep in the same room.
Well, there was one dude sleeping on the couch. Did you see that?
He
Smart
chose
move.
to.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about this reveal. It was just kind of like they built this up over 3.5 episodes, and it's just nothing really happened. They were just like, "Hey, what's up? Hey."
I gotta say about this reveal, like they teed this up so terribly, and it was so staged. They were like walking into the car from the zoo. Oh, I hope like these people aren't just like waiting up in like the kitchen or something. They just gave like these illusions that like, oh, I know what's gonna happen, and I hope that this doesn't happen. And it was so staged and fake.
I mean, like it clearly would have been a lot better if they didn't suspect anything and it was like a total surprise. I mean, like I feel like the double shock of walking into your bedroom that you've been living in for weeks at this point and seeing one that there was a complete extra room in there that you did not know about, and then 2 that your enemy is living in it. Like that
Right.
was
I mean,
literal-
the issue with that, Anderson, is there's 7 people in this house. You know, there's not going to be 7 people on the show.
There were only 7 beds and 4 sinks. We find out.
They knew from the beginning that there was going to be some sort of gimmick or twist. So
That's true.
If they had delivered it right, it really would have been big.
I'm with Harrison. You didn't need to tee it up like so hard. You needed to like just surprise them. Like if they came back like not even suspecting anything, like if they didn't see that Twitter thing, if they just came back and was like, "Whoa, who are these people here?" Like that's a complete surprise, and like it would be a genuine reaction.
it's I mean like this whole thing is kind of like a test run for the X on a Beach style shows, and like in that one they did do a really good job of keeping that one secret until they got there, and they're like, oh man, you're on the worst reality show, and everyone's like, oh.
Yep.
I think they should have done like an escape room for the 7 original cast members, and it's like in their house, and they have to like solve all these clues, and the last clue is they like reveal the wall and they open it and they see all their enemies.
Wow, that is very evil.
That'd be great. I am surprised how confident they seemed that they knew that exes and people were going to show up, to the degree that, like, as much as we're saying they figured it out, like, I think at some point the producers told them some, like, sort of what was coming. Like, you know, to get into it, this show does not feel very real, I gotta say.
I assume that the producers interviewed them a lot about this person.
Yeah.
I assume that. And also the show like breaks the fourth wall a lot, and that you see the cameras like all the time walking around the house and like the booms and everything.
Yeah, I love the shot when they're just sitting when the new people are just sitting in the room waiting for the first people to come back, and there's just a guy with a giant boom mic standing in the middle of the room, and he's like he's the center of the frame. It's so good. I mean, at season 33, you think that they would get some of this right, and it's just not. It feels very fake. All the drama is just blah. Like, I just don't care.
That might be something where we as a lot of us have not watched any of the past seasons, and this is clearly like a predecessor for like a lot of shows. So like maybe they're like just trying to adapt and like get with the times, but they didn't get it right. Like this show probably should have been done like long ago.
I mean, it essentially is. So like the next season of the show was on Facebook Watch, but produced by MTV. Like, that's done. It's over.
Sounds like a real winner. A real winning combination you got there.
Max, where would you rather watch something? Facebook Watch or Quibi?
Quibi easily, dude.
Dude, easily.
So I got an update from the internet.
Right.
So there have been 33 seasons of The Real World. In the first 4 seasons, it was straight up like, what happens when you put 7 people living together? And it's like the tagline Harrison said, like it's a very famous tagline.
Wait, so it's actually like just 7 people? So even like right now, they could have just been like 7 people.
That's always their shtick. Like it's a very famous tagline when they open the show. But then starting in season 5, they started saying, all right, you're all going to work at this like one place. And then for a long time,
Jersey Shore rules.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And then for a long time, that was the shtick. And then in season 29, so 5 to 29, so we're going from 1996 to 2014, the same thing. And then season 29 in San Francisco, you have Real World Explosion.
Uh-oh.
You get it. And then we start getting into the twists and turns.
Thank you, Mr. Noah, for that.
Got it.
It's interesting that they had just like, it was just people in a house. Like, I don't know how compelling that really is. Like, without any gimmicks, right?
Well, I mean, this is America's Terrace House.
That's true.
Without the podcast.
Yeah, well, they need the podcast, though.
It'd be better with the podcast.
I mean, like
Podcast is the only good thing.
It's also like one of the earliest reality shows too. I mean, so it's like at that time, like the concept was just super unique because like you couldn't just watch a million shows and just like see kind of like real people.
I mean, this is like one of the questions we talk about is like, who are the parents of the show? Like, who inspired the show? And like, this has inspired like every reality show, like every single one.
Yeah, this is the granddaddy of them all. This is up top.
Actually, on the Wikipedia page, it says, so the original, the producers of the Real World, who still got credit, Buda Murray Productions. Mm-hmm. They were inspired, it says, by the 1973 PBS documentary series, An American Family. And so I think the question is now who inspired American Family. We can really do like a whole tree going down to today.
I mean, I didn't say they weren't inspired by anyone. I'm just saying like all reality shows, essentially, we watch today, if they're not a game show, direct roots to the real world. Like
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Like,
It's the original house drama. I mean, like even all the competition shows where people live in a house and The Bachelor and all this other shit, like it's all like this is like the start of the house drama.
Yeah, for sure. Do we actually want to get into some of the minutia of this episode at all? Like, does anyone really care? Like, I guess the two big drama things that happen are like they go to Aston Manor, we think.
Let's stick into that. So they went to a club, and we were trying to figure out what club in Seattle it's been, because we've been to some of them, and we're pretty sure it's Aston Manor. Does anyone have any counterclaims they want to say that they think it was a different club?
I think I saw the name of the club and it wasn't Aston Manor.
What was it?
I don't remember because I have
Trinity.
No.
That's the only other
Yeah.
one.
So the other thing is,
changed. Like I'm pretty sure the name has changed since the filming.
it hasn't been that long though, right? I mean, it could have been that clubbing Capitol Hill, but I don't think it was that. Like
This
Q, I
was in
think.
20. This was filmed in 2016, guys. Not
Yeah.
that long ago.
I thought that it was Tia Lu, which
Yeah,
is
that sounds right.
Oh,
not open anymore in like Belltown.
Yeah, it was. It was. I saw Tia when they were going in.
Okay,
That
There we go.
good,
There you
good
go.
lore.
yep.
So unfortunately, they were not at the same club we saw DJ Pauly date, but you know.
But they did have a guy with a smoke machine who blew it on the audience like a big like hair dryer.
That reminded me of Pauly D for sure.
How much confetti was there, do you think?
I didn't see any confetti, unfortunately.
I
it
don't
know how much-
Real World House forever.
Yeah, so they go to this club and they come back, and this girl, Tiara,
Tiara,
whatever,
or like or Tia.
Tia. We're just gonna call her Tia. She's real angry because she thinks people just left her at the club, but like left her by like leaving her upstairs by herself because they went to smoke cigarettes, and she was like, "People are laughing at me. I was by myself." Like, bitch, no one cares. They didn't care. We don't care. Like, why did we spend 10 minutes of the show on this drama was beyond me.
Let me tell you something. It's 2016. Uber exists. You're good.
Well, she wasn't even left. It's not like they like took the Uber home. It was
right.
like they went to get another drink or to go smoke a cigarette. It's like, sorry, you missed the memo, but like, not sorry. You can find us.
Well, and then she freaks out at them when she's back at the house and she says how she decided to be on Real World to have friends because she doesn't have any friends. And now all of her friends have betrayed her.
Yeah, that was kind of sad in a way, for sure.
And
Yeah.
Chris really ripping souls out there.
I mean, sometimes you got to tell it as it is.
It looks like she's gonna have kind of a tough time with her bad blood also. I don't know if we want to get into
Yeah, we can do that too.
How does everybody feel about the British accent? Are we going to discuss that?
So the bad blood she has is with this girl named Kimberly. And Kimberly claims that her British accent is fake.
I don't
Because she
understand.
would-
I don't understand what their relationship is because Tia refers to her as a cyberbully who has been bullying her and claiming that her English accent is fake. So I'm not really sure if they just invited this woman's cyberbully onto the show or not, but that's kind of what it seems like happened.
So like,
I mean, I'm sure they were friends at some point, and she probably knows the truth or something. It's such a weird, oddly specific thing to make up, I feel.
Yeah.
Tia claims this is her story, is that she lived somewhere where she knew Kimberly. Then she went to London for an undetermined amount of time. I don't know. Came back, and during that time was being cyberbullied by Kimberly, quote unquote, unclear. I don't know. And then came back with a British accent. And then Kimberly keeps claiming that her British accent is fake because she wasn't in London that long, or she knew her before London. Like, it's fucking dumb.
Yeah, like the whole. Sorry, Annabeth, go on. The whole thing about the accent. Who gives a fuck? Like, if you make up one, why did you do that? If you care that somebody has an accent when they didn't have one, why do you care? Like, what is not going on in your life that like you need to focus on this?
People that want to watch The Real World.
And like, it definitely seems pretty malicious because the first thing that her bad blood does when she gets in the house is starts telling people that this woman's accent is fake. She's like immediately just like, by the way, this person's accent totally fake, and this like immediately in there, like this person has a real issue with it with her. It seems like
It was definitely brought up in the road trip as well.
man.
It moved from cyberbullying to real life bullying, which is not cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the first like half of this episode, really. Then they go to the zoo, they get Dippin' Dots.
I was so excited about the zoo trip by some of like the little like snippets that we got, and like they spent like maybe 2 minutes on it in the show.
Yeah.
Nothing. No time.
What did
the
you want
other-
to see at the zoo, Brian, that they didn't show?
No, I mean like, well, one of the things was like, I think it was Robbie like had a piece of lettuce in his mouth, and then like the giraffe like took it out, and then I was like, oh, that's awesome. There's gonna be like more moments like that where they're just having fun, and no, it wasn't anything like that. Like you got like a cute penguin shot, you got a little other shots, and then it was done.
So
I would like to talk about something I didn't get to see at the zoo.
Okay.
I think they should have had the OG house people go into the penguin area to feed them, then have the new people come see the exhibit. Then they're all losing their minds on separate sides of this zoo. Great.
Max, we need to get your production.
I don't want the penguins to get hurt in this scenario. I don't want someone to be like trampling the penguins or like throw a penguin at their enemy.
What if instead of penguins, they're sharks?
Ooh.
Ooh. Annabeth,
we'd have
like,
to go to an aquarium for that.
if you saw your enemy,
I was
like,
going to team you up for the Shark Tank plug there, but you really dropped the ball.
I dropped the ball on the shark plug.
A literal tank of sharks, some might say.
I'm lost.
Chris, we might have done
Dude,
another
dude.
show on this podcast called Shark Tank, and that is what James is referring to.
Oh.
Bum 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 bum.
All right, guys. All right. We got to get into the last bit of drama that's really in this episode, and it's Theo and this weed story. So Theo was on the football team at some D1 school. No one cares. He got caught with weed in his house, and he blames his cousin. Oh, what the fuck's his name? Cassius.
Yeah.
And Cassius blames Theo. So
It was neither of them their weed, they said.
N-
How
well-
to get there? We'll never know.
I think so Theo says that it was not his weed, and the cops are already in there, but the weed was on his side, so he got all the trouble. Cassius says that they were both there. The cops came in. He said they can't come in, and then Theo said yes, they can come in and search the place. So they could search the place. They found the weed and they kicked him out. So
when
like,
he got sentenced to jail or something too, was the story, right? So he lost his scholarship, he goes to jail, then he, gets out eventually and goes to like some D3 school, no scholarship, etc.
I don't know if he was convicted. It sounded like he might have just been in jail for like a day or two for the processing, but it sounded like that the infraction was enough to get all his scholarship and football stuff messed up, even though there might not have been like a criminal charge in the end.
One other point is that he at least claims that when they arrested him, he took a drug test and tested negative for drugs too. So, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't have the weed, but, who knows?
It's a real case of cereal over here on
yeah.
the real world.
I mean, Cassius, I don't think ever denied that it was his weed, other than to the cops. Like,
no, he was denying it to the house. It's like, yeah, it wasn't my weed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
okay. I don't know.
Like he's like, you don't put it in the muscle milk tub.
Ooh.
I
Yeah,
feel
that-
like the name Cassius sounds suspicious. Like someone named Cassius, just like it feels like that's not someone that's a trustworthy character. I don't know what it is.
But it's his cousin. Like, you gotta trust family a little bit.
Do you? Reddit makes me think that you shouldn't do that.
No, everybody's an asshole. You trust nobody.
Presumably, hopefully you can, Brian. But sometimes,
I know. That's
Also,
I was
Cassius said something like, "Hey, if you want to fight, I can release the demon, and we can fight." He was ready.
Also,
What?
very notably, they're fighting when Cassius comes in the house and they're at the kitchen table, and there is a literal jug of muscle milk between them. What is
And a
that?
football.
So
And a football.
good.
Why is there a football? You got some producer tossing that football to these guys.
Oh, definitely.
But then importantly, there's a side argument that starts up with T and who's that guy? And it was not Robbie, it was some other dude. Doesn't matter who the other dude was, but
Yeah.
importantly, he calls her out for. He's like, "Where'd your accent go there for a moment?" So this accent thing is really taking the whole house up here a notch.
Well, the thing is, Kimberly's
Everyone-
poisoned all the bad blood people against her because she was telling the stories in the RV about how the accent is fake. So everyone's ready for that fake accent.
For sure.
I think it's really wild that these two bad bloods are kind of on the same level. It's this one girl saying this other girl doesn't have an accent, and this guy who maybe got his cousin like kicked out of school.
Yeah, what?
Everyone's fighting about something.
That's what the show is. That's the show.
That's the
But
show.
we're watching episode 4. It's barely started in episode 4.
It
like, what
sounds
are they
like you just
doing?
need to skip episodes 1 to 3. That can maybe treat those as like some sort of prologue.
I mean, that's what we did. We skipped episodes 1 to 3. How was
Yeah.
the experience, James? I guess we'll get to ratings, but
I can
Sounds
tell
better than
you
Chris.
it wouldn't change if you watch episodes 1 through 3. It might actually be better than if you didn't watch episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
really?
I said. It sounds like it's a prologue.
Like,
See like cool campsites in Washington as they slowly drive to Seattle.
yeah, you could see that. There's actually some, like, other episodes do a better job of showing things around Seattle. So a couple of us are actually living in Capitol Hill. So, like, they show, like, I think Bills, and they show Unicorn, and they show, like, 95 Slide. They show, like, a bunch of places in Capitol Hill. So, like, that's kind of cool to see places but at the end of the day, just like weird. It's not even drama at that point. Like, at least here, they're fighting for reason, right?
Yep.
I don't know.
true. Chris, I do like you said a couple of us live in Capitol Hill. There's only one person on this podcast that doesn't live in Capitol Hill.
I just didn't want to out where everyone lived, Rob.
Oh, I see. Just where some of us live.
Yeah, just that's some of us.
Man, way to cyber Zoom bully Rob there.
The house is right across the street from my public storage unit. So
Yeah.
I saw it.
For people who are listening, it's actually next to the Chop Chaz police station. It is in the Chaz.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also fairly certain I looked at a condo in that place.
Maybe it was the real world condo.
Did it have like secret rooms behind the roof?
It said,
What about
It sadly
a rotating
didn't.
bookcase?
wait, what was that, Max?
A rotating bookcase?
Oh, if that had that, I would have immediately bought it.
Brian, you should definitely have just bought that condo.
Yeah,
Imagine
exactly.
Brian bought a condo and then we're watching the Real World Seattle. Be like, oh my God, Brian, that's your condo. And then he
It's,
goes over to the wall. He's like, there's a secret room in here. Oh my God.
There's 3 more
There's-
beds.
Enemies in there.
It's like a what? 2 ginormous bedroom, like 4 bath, because they have all the sinks. Like, just a giant weird condo you could own.
Yeah. Probably worth like 3 mil.
You'd be a little suspicious. Like, this place seems a little off. I don't know.
This looks like you could film a reality show in here. Oh, Brian,
Ju-
if we bought it, we could start our own reality show production company, like we've been trying to.
We can still do that. We can still like go back. I'm sure we can get it from somebody.
Chris, did you say you and Brian are trying to start a reality production company?
Yeah, you
No,
in?
We are.
Oh, I'm in too.
Yeah. We collectively,
Ah,
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah,
the royal we.
let's do it.
All right, you guys ready for some
Production.
questions?
Yeah.
Who's the worst human being in the show? I don't know.
I
I'm glad
got
you
somebody.
said that, 'cause I was gonna say
It's that cyberbully, because that person's super mean. Why are they
Yeah.
so mean about the accent? Let her talk however she wants to talk.
I'm gonna
Exactly.
say it's Cassius if he did it.
Sure, no, 100%. You're right.
There's
That's
no
the
way
thing.
to-
We don't know the whole we don't really know who to believe in these things. Like I think if Theo's version of events is true, it's probably Cassian. But I think based on the evidence we have, we probably have to go with Kimberly as the worst person. Cyberbullying is
mean-
wrong, people.
I feel like Tia is the one that actually did like mean stuff this episode. Like in
Oh.
just this episode. Tia
Chris is
did
getting in on the bullying.
like she came back and just started yelling and berating at people. Cause I mean, being too drunk is not an excuse like to just be an insane person.
I'll even add to that. Like she like woke up and like was like, yeah, I'm kind of like that sometimes, but whatever. I'm just gonna ignore this and not apologize to anybody. That's the real fucking problem. Like
There
you
you go.
recognize that you're bad and you just don't do anything about it.
My vote's for Tia.
I enjoyed that she said that 5 minutes after she's saying she has no friends. And it's like, I wonder if there's a connection there.
What's the most baffling / cringeworthy moment?
It was when they pulled the fucking wall off and revealed this room. That was
Yeah.
No,
That
that was
wasn't, that wasn't cringeworthy though. Cringeworthy was probably when they're just sitting on the beds.
Yeah,
The people
that's what I was
back.
going to nominate. Was them coming back and being in the other fake room, just like kind of looking at each other. It's kind of cringy.
What
How long
about
do we
the
think
one
the
dude
producers
who
made
was
them
in his
sit?
bad blood's bed? That's kind of weird.
That was weird.
Yeah. Oh, it was also when that one guy took that woman's food out of the freezer and was like, "Her food is my food."
And took her name off of it or something like a.
That was
Wow.
bad.
Noah, do you have one?
I think nothing for cringeworthy that I can really think of, but I agree with Harrison on baffling when it's like they cut out the wall and they have a whole two extra rooms. That is a really nifty twist. Like it's a nifty way of putting in the twist. I really like the thought they did there.
Brian or Max, do you have one?
Mm-mm.
All right. What's your favorite minor minutia? And I've got one. So in the confessionals, they had a pillow that just said "UGH" on it, UGH, and I thought that was amazing. I kind of want
Pretty
that
good.
pillow. Rob, do you have a favorite minor minutia?
So on the minor minutia, we referenced it a little bit, but like they definitely at one point talked about we should go to 95 Slide and discuss this more. And like we've all been to 95 Slide, so it's like, oh, I hope they go to 90, and then they didn't.
They do in other episodes,
95 Slide does not exist anymore.
R.I.P.
along with a lot of other places.
Yep.
R.I.P. Brian, you have one?
Yeah, I do. So Tiara and Mike are like chatting, like Tiara's like having her meltdown, and she's like, I need to have these bagel bites. And she's like, they just like zoom in on the bagel bites and she eats one.
Anyone else got one? Noah?
I liked when they revealed the secret rooms and there was like this weird picture on the wall that said like "have a super day." It was like "have a super duper day," and it seemed like a little like jab of the knife at all these.
Oh, Rob, what was that shirt that somebody was wearing?
The,
It was
the
like-
shirt said just like, I don't care about this or something like that. And
I
I'm
do
just
not
like,
care at all.
I do not care at all. And it's like their shirt is summing up me watching this show.
Yeah, sums up my feelings for the show 100%. Our next question is, what is the production schedule for this show? Which Wikipedia actually provides the production schedule of the show. So here we go. Production began on June 30th and concluded on August 27th of 2016, totaling filming of 58 days.
Yeah,
So
they
Cool.
like redid the surfacing. Like the real world people, part of their job while they were in Capitol Hill was to resurface Cal Anderson Park over the summer. It was closed all summer while they were doing it. I remember that.
That is true. I forgot about that. That is 100% correct.
Coming
So-
from the guy that forgot about it.
an episode was an average of around 5 days in one episode.
So what day did what we see this episode do? Like the specifically when like the X's show up.
That they didn't get that granular on Wikipedia.
All right. So if we assume 5 days per episode, this is like day like 17 or 18 out of 58. This is when this happened. Is that what we're gonna go with?
I'm gonna say earlier. Like I think that like they probably
So
kept everybody together like first, and then like they're traveling. Like they're not gonna have much to do with traveling, and then just brought him in. Like so, it's maybe like 3 or 4 days like initially, and then everything else is there.
Rob, I think we can answer this question because in the episode they say that we've been here 2 weeks. You guys weren't here.
Ah,
Oh, damn it!
good catch, Chris.
So there you go. They've been there 2 weeks out of the 58, 14 out of 58 days. Let's
So
see.
did they stop doing the real world because they can't do multiple episodes in a day, and they gotta, it just takes too long to film?
Probably. It's probably like, I mean, obviously it's an expense versus like viewer ratio. Like the ratings on this season were like 0.3, which isn't terrible, but when it takes you 58 days, like it's not good.
I mean, they didn't stop it. They just put it on a different like channel, quote unquote. They're still producing it, just on the Facebooks.
Well, they did one more season. I don't know if they're going to do another one.
That's fair. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do what's your drinking rule? Rob, do you have a drinking rule?
I feel like nothing happened. I don't feel like I have a drinking rule.
Drink every time you see a crew member on camera.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Drink when anyone's angry.
Oh, I was gonna say drink.
gonna be a
anytime
rough one.
someone starts yelling.
Yelling? Yeah, yelling's good.
Yelling.
Drink every time you recognize a landmark.
Drink.
Or
double
any
if you've
landmark.
been there.
Finish your drink at that point, James.
Yeah.
Oh wow, whoa, easy guys, easy. Whoa, been a lot of places,
Yeah.
Drink every time Tia's accent is a topic of conversation.
Oh, too drunk.
All right.
I see-
I guess
Drink
we're on
anytime the
to-
words blood is mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Before our last question, does anyone have any other minutia they want to talk about? Or shall we get to the ratings?
I do have one small thing. I'm curious if them in an RV is a callback to Road Rules Challenge, which I think is in an RV.
Could be.
Could be.
I don't know.
They should make another season of Road Rules, maybe.
Maybe.
We need to do
Facebook,
road
get
rules
on
on
it.
the pod. I don't know what road rules is.
Or we should
It's
do
the
it.
first challenge.
Yeah, we should do a season.
Yeah, that's like the birth of the challenge.
Well, all right, we'll put it in the queue. If this is your first time, we do a stack ranking system. So we'll put top third, middle third, and bottom third compared to other reality shows we've reviewed on the podcast and ones you've seen generally. So Rob, why don't you give me your rating?
Oh, this has definitely got to go in the bottom third. Like nothing happens. They're obviously supposed to be excited about this drama of the exes meeting, but like if you want a show like that, there's other shows where other stuff happens while it's going on. So yeah, and there wasn't enough Seattle landmarks to make it interesting enough for that. So bottom third.
Not surprising. Noah, what about you?
Yeah. So this episode specifically, it's clearly in the bottom. What really turns me off is actually just how we got the content delivered. The MTV app, there's so many commercials compared to other shows we stream. It just makes it a really not enjoyable experience. So, like, for this episode, it clearly goes in the bottom. That said, Real World is groundbreaking. And so, as a show and what it means for us, like, it goes in the top. So put me down for the bottom, but in the between the lines, it's a top.
Okay. I'm not sure you should be rating based on historical significance, but
Well, I mean, this is something I was also going to bring up too, because like we've clearly, at least in my opinion, caught it at the tail end. Like it's dying, it's trying to find like its last legs and survive, but it's clearly spawned a lot of other stuff too. So like we just watch like something that's bad. Like we can't like keep saying continue watching it though.
maybe we'll do a revisit it and watch an early season. But finding early seasons is hard. You
That's
couldn't
certainly true.
watch season 7. I wanted to watch season 7. Was not available. Couldn't find it on any torrent site. There's no DVD. It's not available anywhere.
It's not on that MTV Hits thing.
Nope. They only have certain seasons, and they didn't have season 7.
Interesting.
Brian, why don't you give me a rating?
It's definitely gonna be bottom third, like maybe middle of the bottom. Yeah, I have nothing good to say about this. It was just like pure drama. It was poorly set up and did not feel like it was a good reality show.
Harrison, what do you got for me?
So I mean, I have a few thoughts. I mean, I definitely have similar thoughts to Noah in that, like, just the reputation and the influence of the Real World is like, I mean, I think it has earned its place in kind of the reality show Mount Rushmore, if you will. But this particular season and the show that we know as Real World Seattle : Bad Blood, I didn't think it's a very good show. So this is definitely a bottom third show for me. I think that, like, in general, I don't really like these shows that I'm going to put in the category of like ultimate drama, where like they have brought in like your literal enemy to just torture you in this reality show torture chamber. Like, you know, X on the Beach, this one, some other ones like that. Like, I'm not a huge fan of that particular genre, so yeah, it's gonna be a bottom third for me.
Annabeth, what do you got?
I'm also gonna say it's a bottom third. I think that maybe if I had not seen so many other shows that have like the house drama element of this, like if this was the first time I was ever seeing that, it might be interesting. But I don't really care about these people very much. The drama's not that interesting. Doesn't seem like there are going to be any like good character arcs or any kind of like story or any kind of thing that they're trying to win. So not that interested. Bottom third.
Max, what about you?
Shit, garbage, really awful, bottom of the bottom. Fuck this.
James, did we get your rating?
I don't believe so.
Okay, James, go ahead.
I'm really wondering if everyone just had like a really bad day. I don't know. This one I felt okay with. This is gonna go in the middle. Like, I don't know. Like, it was whatever. I don't particularly care too much or that deeply invested, but it's just kind of a show you can throw on, and like nothing all matters all that much, and you can just watch these people be, you know, do dumb stuff and argue about nonsense. I don't know. I think it sort of sets the stage for like your core like reality show category, and this element of like we're gonna see what people do, and it's like it's just such a foundational like base thing that like I didn't really come in with any expectations for it to be more than that. And I definitely don't love the whole Bad Bloods thing a ton, but I don't know. It gives them something stupid to argue about aside from just like their job or whatever else they're gonna do. So it's fun.
Thanks, James. I'm gonna put this in the bottom. I think it was real garbage, and I tried. I wanted to bring back a full report on the whole season. Couldn't do it. I made it to episode, I think 6, and I was like, nope. No, I can't do it anymore. But you know, the same show, Floribama Shore, which is a 7 like different people, really fun. I really like those people. I must just really hate these people. Like these people are just boring, dull, the worst human beings. So MTV needs to pick better people.
There's
That's really
14 people on the season.
A lot of people.
yeah, but even the episodes 1 through 3 were just 7 people really.
Sure.
So I mean, that's kind of an important thing. I think, like, this episode purely, it sounds like it's probably like a highlight of at least the episodes you've seen. And so I think kind of coming in like cold to it, not knowing anything else, like I totally can't imagine trying to go back and watch the other episodes or really to like go much deeper. But like just like picking this one, it was a fun watch as like a random pull from the vault, you know.
Honestly, 1 through 3 didn't make me care more about any of these people. So
Whereas what I'm saying, like I
like-
think like, you can just watch this episode and feel like, okay, I've seen something, and then move on.
honestly, I debated between this episode and the next episode because the next episode had more specific drama related to the Bad Bloods, but it was harder to cold into. So I was like, let's just do 4 because it's easier to be like, okay, there's 7 people, then 7 other people come in, and they come in this episode. Like, it made more sense. But
Yeah.
5 is also decent if you like this episode.
I'm glad you chose this so we could see that wall get taken down. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's it for this show. Anyone got anything else they've been watching? Michigan Crew, what have you guys been up to?
The Gauntlet 2, are we gonna talk about that?
Well, we've been
TJ's
watching
first episode of the challenge.
Sorry, yeah. So we watched a few things, I guess. We've been watching Below Deck Mediterranean, which is a really good season that's popping off right now. You should check that out. We went back and started watching an old challenge season called The Gauntlet 2 that was TJ's first season hosting, which has been kind of decent so far. And then we also watched seasons 3 and 4 of a show that my dad was watching called Queen of the South, which was pretty good. It was about this Mexican drug cartel that's setting up business in America, I guess. And it's kind of weird coming into a show on season 3, but now we've kind of started to watch the first season a little bit, and it's like watching an insane prequel.
It's really nuts.
Yeah.
Apparently that show is like on pause right now because of COVID and stuff, so they're trying to figure out how to get season 5 on the rails.
Queen of the South. It's on Netflix.
It was on USA, now
Yep.
Netflix.
So one thing that I've discovered recently is that there's a new podcast called The Reality of Reality TV, which is a podcast hosted. Let me get the right name up. It's essentially a reality show star, Flora East, which is she does UK. She was on Fear Factor, not Fear Factor. What was it? X Factor on UK. She's interviewing a bunch of UK based reality TV stars and like how well they've done and just kind of like their experience. And it's kind of interesting to get like that perspective. I'd really love a producer kind of show, maybe something we should look into, but this is pretty cool. Like the first episode was somebody on RuPaul's Drag Race. So that took 7 months to do RuPaul's Drag Race UK, which is so long.
Whoa.
And like somebody on X Factor, and like just the like they try to make everyone cry, and they're all just pulling on emotional strings, and it's really stressful. And like I get it, but like some of the people on X Factor, she was like 16. Like that's just so young. So it's just kind of I give it a recommendation if you like reality shows, even though you haven't seen these because these are UK based shows. Unless you've been, I think they have one from Love Island, which we've done. And I think that's the only ones we've ever done. We got to get on that Geordie Shore, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else got anything they want to plug before we get out of here?
I'll just mention it took me a month. I finished Indian matchmaking this weekend. So
Oh, moving quick, Rob.
moving quick. I feel like that was slow. I know people who finished it in a weekend.
In like, what is it, 4 hours? I'm sure somebody sat down and watched it in 4 hours.
Right.
All right. Well, that's it this week. Next week, I really want to do the Amazon's new Survivor-esque show I don't remember the name of it right now, but that's presumably what next week's going to be, unless people want to veto me. So we're going to do that. So you can reach us on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
Noah, your foot is in a really strange position. I don't know how you get it like that. Oh, find a way now.
lot of yoga, man.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
impressive.
yoga.
Annabeth, give me the thing.
It's time to play some tag.
So good.
So what is that from?
From Ultimate Tag, a show hosted by 3 large football boys whose names I don't know, where people do different kinds of tag competitions to win some money.
What is different kinds of tag?
So there's like chase tag is one of them. I forget which one was that. There's like one where they're going through a maze and they have to hit a button before a tagger gets them. There's one where it's like kind of like a whole like kind of Ninja Warrior obstacle course where a tagger is running after them.
With
There's one where
multiple
they're in
defenders.
sort of a suspended like half like sphere.
It's dome tag.
Dome tag. They're in this like half sphere that's also kind of a maze and they have to crawl around and someone's like trying to tag them in the sphere. So it's basically different obstacle courses in which you could play a version of tag. But the best
So it's just tag, but in different places.
but the best part is that this show does sort of like a professional wrestling style introduction of all of the taggers that they have acquired.
Oh,
which are
that's fun.
parkour people and they all come out and they have a name. So there's like Beach Boy or The Kid. And then they have a costume and a tagline. And this person like the contestant will start an obstacle course. And one of the football boys who's hosting it will go, release the tagger. And then the tagger will come out and try to tag them. And
So it's like the Running Man, but less death. You weren't here for
No,
that episode.
no, people are dying.
Good throwback though. Very clever.
Do you have a favorite tagger, Annabeth?
yeah, I like Beach Boy.
Beach Boy?
What's his like secret strength?
He has like some tag. He's like a parkour guy, and his tagline is something like "You'll be feeling those good vibrations when I slam you on the floor."
That is a terrible tagline. What?
Good.
Is
They're all-
Annabeth, is this show disqualified from our podcast because it's not a reality show?
It's definitely a game show.
Athletic
But-
competition.
Yeah, I mean it's like this. It's like a Ninja Warrior style show. So if that is disqualified, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
James, do you have a favorite tagger?
Man, I do not remember most of the taggers, but the general concept of the show is great. It's very entertaining.
All right.
Impressive
Well,
tag moves. A lot of dodging and ducking and weaving.
how well do you think you would do, James?
Not great, probably. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of experience playing tag. I haven't played tag in many years.
Yeah, this is like a really intense version of tag.
Yeah.
Do they have do they go to the camera? Do they have any extra tech? Are people wearing just giant jumpsuits so that they can they have a giant buzzer that goes off because they can actually sense when somebody gets tagged? Or
It's actually lower tech than that. They have like 4 like flags that are kind of like attached to them, and it's kind of like they just pull the
Oh,
tagger.
so they have to pull a flag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
okay.
a football flag kind of situation.
But these parkour people are really good at tag. Let me tell you.
Well, and they're like jumping over things and doing obstacles and like pretty athletic maneuvers. I feel like you'd have to like practice a little on these courses or something to get a feel for it. I don't think you can just go in cold and just play some tag.
Yeah.
No.
You're gonna pull a hammy that way.
You got to be
So
ready
it's-
to play tag.
So the
Has anyone
taggers
tried brute forcing anything? Just be the Rock and just punch these people's lights out.
I don't know if that's the spirit of tag. but
No. If you give them like if you like, do you remember those like inflatable like gloves where like you could just like fight your friends? Like if they give them those, like I think maybe you'd be okay.
But like if you're chasing me and I punch you, I'm out because you touched me with your face, right?
No,
Like,
but
Somebody
the
needs to do a
the tag
timeout
part
for-
is the flags. You have to prevent people from getting the flags. So if you can just like,
oh, I see what you're
I think
saying.
punching in the head's probably against the rules. Also, somehow they're not wearing helmets on this show, and it seems really dangerous sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they did this on the challenge and then like somebody dislocated their knee or something, or like they did something, like it was a Chance versus Stars.
Everything's more dangerous
Oh,
with the
yeah.
challenge, Brian. That's how the challenge works.
Yeah.
TJ is not having any softcore challenges.
This wasn't even a
Like,
TJ one. This was fucking who was it? Was it a football
Yeah.
player or was it The Miz?
no one cares.
Yeah, so it was basically Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson injured herself in some stupid tag challenge on a Champs versus Stars.
Yeah.
On a very coincidental note, The Miz actually got famous first on The Real World.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's not
He became a wrestler?
He's
Wait.
involved in the whole universe. It's nuts.
It's all the
Like-
real world's fault.
But he was a wrestler. Like was he a wrestler before the real world or
He's
No.
a wrestler because of the real world.
okay.
Oh,
Was he on the
also,
real world as the Miz, or did he have a real name at that point?
The guy's name is like Mike or something like that, and then like through the real world, like he got this Miz sort of persona, and then he just rode it all the way to the WWE, basically.
Wow.
Pro move.
oh,
And for something? Is it like miserable?
It's his last name. His it's like his last name is like Mizanski or I mean something like that.
so we forgot to mention this on the podcast. Well, now we're doing an addendum here. According
Addendum.
to Wikipedia, after filming, 2 of these members were on the challenge.
Oh yeah,
Anika and Theo were on Invasion of the Champions.
yeah. I definitely remember Theo being on one
Yeah.
of the seasons. I definitely recognize him.
They won
It-
0 challenges and won $0.
Did Theo get injured in the eye with a champagne cork or was it
That's-
somebody else?
So that guy's name is also Theo, but he's the British Theo.
Okay.
Different guy. Yeah.
Can't be
No
mixed up with
accent?
Theos, Brian.
Accent.
How dare you?
Not British?
Well, how's his accent? Is it a real British or? A fake?
Oh. I don't know.
It slipped for a second.
All right, we're done with the addendum.
Don't be
I'm turning-
cyberbullying Theo there.
I'm turning the mics off, guys.
By my
And everybody start shutting up now.